I want you to imagine something for me. Imagine sitting in the principal's office, hands shaking, throat tight, while everyone around you talks about you like you're not even there. Like you're invisible. Like your words mean nothing. Now imagine the one person who's supposed to have your back, the one person who knows the truth better than anyone, is the reason you're there in the first place. That was me 3 months ago, and this is the story of how my own brother almost destroyed my life. Pause. My name doesn't matter. What matters is that I was 17, a junior in high school, and I thought I had everything under control. I thought I could handle it. I thought no one needed to know. I was wrong. Let me take you back to the beginning. Back before everything fell apart. Why, I grew up in a house that looked perfect from the outside. Nice neighborhood, 2-story colonial. My parents both had good jobs. Mom was a physical therapist. Dad worked in finance. And then there was my brother. He was 2 years older than me. Star athlete, captain of the basketball team. Teachers loved him. Everyone loved him. He had this way of walking into a room and just commanding it. You know the type. Charismatic, confident, the kind of person who could talk their way out of anything. I was different. I was quiet. I kept my head down. I got good grades, had a small circle of friends, and I liked it that way. I didn't need to be the center of attention. But here's the thing about living with someone like that, someone who shines so bright. You get used to standing in the shadow. You get used to people seeing him first. And you definitely get used to people believing him over you. It started small. Looking back now, I can see all the warning signs I missed. But when you're living through it, when it's happening slowly, day by day, you don't notice until it's too late. It was the beginning of junior year, September. I'd started getting these headaches. Not just regular headaches, these intense, blinding migraines that would come out of nowhere and completely knock me out. I'd be sitting in class, taking notes, and suddenly it felt like someone was driving an ice pick through my skull. The first time it happened, I had to leave school early. My mom picked me up, took me to the doctor. The doctor said it was probably stress. Teenage hormones. Maybe I needed more sleep. So I tried sleeping more. I tried drinking more water. I tried everything. But the headaches kept coming. And then came the dizziness. I'd be walking down the hallway, and suddenly the floor would tilt. I'd have to grab onto the lockers just to stay upright. My friends started noticing. "Are you okay? You look pale. Maybe you should sit down." But every time I went to the doctor, they said the same thing. Stress, anxiety. Maybe I should see a therapist. My parents started looking at me differently, like they weren't sure what to believe, like maybe I was overreacting, like maybe I was making it up. Then came the day that changed everything. It was October, a Tuesday. I was in chemistry class, 3rd period. We were doing a lab, something with beakers and Bunsen burners. I remember the smell of the gas, the heat from the flame, and then I remember the headache hitting me like a freight train. But this time was different. This time, I couldn't see. My vision just went black. Not gradually, not blurry, just black. I heard myself say something. I think I said, "I can't see." And then I felt my legs give out. I hit the floor hard. When I came to, I was surrounded by people. My teacher was kneeling next to me, her hand on my shoulder. Someone was calling 911. And through the crowd, I saw my brother. He was supposed to be in class on the other side of the building, but somehow word had gotten to him. He pushed through everyone, and for a second, just a second, I saw something in his eyes. Fear. Real fear. "I'm okay," I tried to say, but my voice came out wrong. Slurred. The EMTs came. They put me on a stretcher. They asked me questions I couldn't answer properly. And the whole time, I saw the way people were looking at me. Not with concern, with suspicion. They took me to the hospital, ran a bunch of tests, MRI, CT scan, blood work, the whole 9 yards. My parents were there, my brother was there, everyone waiting for answers. And you know what the doctors found? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. All her tests came back normal. The doctor said, no neurological issues, no structural abnormalities. Blood work is perfect. I saw my mom's shoulders relax. My dad nodded, like this confirmed something he'd already suspected. But I also saw something else. I saw my brother's expression shift, just slightly, from concern to something else. Something calculating. So what happened? My mom asked. The doctor hesitated. Sometimes stress and anxiety can manifest in physical symptoms. Given her age, the pressures of school, it's not uncommon. There it was, that word again. Anxiety, like it explained everything, like it meant nothing I was experiencing was real. I'm not making this up, I said, my voice small. Something's wrong? I know something's wrong. My mom squeezed my hand. We know, honey. We're going to figure this out. Maybe we should look into a therapist, someone who specializes in stress management. I wanted to scream, but I didn't. I just nodded, because what else could I do? When I came back to school 3 days later, everything had changed. People were talking, not to me, about me. I'd hear fragments of conversations as I walked past. Did you hear she passed out in chemistry? Yeah, but they didn't find anything wrong with her. So she was faking? I don't know. Maybe she wanted attention. It was like being slowly erased, like my reality was being rewritten by everyone around me. My friends tried to be supportive, but I could tell even they weren't sure what to think. Are you feeling better? They'd ask, their voices careful. Have you thought about seeing someone, like, professionally? Even my teachers started treating me differently, more gently, like I was fragile, like I might break at any moment, or like I might cause a scene. The only person who seemed to believe something was actually wrong was my best friend, Jessica. She'd known me since middle school. She knew I wasn't the type to make things up. I believe you, she said one day at lunch. I don't know what's happening, but I believe you. I almost cried, because in that moment, she was the only one. But here's where things get really messed up. My brother started acting weird. At first, he seemed concerned. He'd check on me, ask how I was feeling, offer to drive me to school so I didn't have to take the bus. It felt nice, protective, like he actually cared. But then I started noticing other things, little comments he'd make at dinner. You seem fine now. Maybe you were just having a bad day. The doctors said there's nothing wrong, so... He never finished those sentences, but the implication was clear. And then one day, I overheard him talking to his friend in the driveway. I was upstairs, window open, and their voices drifted up. Dude, is your sister okay? His friend asked. There was a pause. Then my brother laughed. Actually laughed. Man, I don't even know anymore. She's been super dramatic lately. Passing out at school, all these doctor visits. They can't find anything wrong with her. So what, she's making it up? Another pause. I don't know. Maybe. Or maybe she's just really stressed and doesn't know how to handle it. Either way, it's exhausting. I stepped back from the window, my hands shaking. Not with sadness, with rage. The episodes kept happening. November brought more headaches, more dizzy spells. But now I was afraid to tell anyone. Because every time I did, I saw that look, that subtle eye roll, that tight smile that said, Here we go again. I started keeping a journal, writing down every symptom. Every time something felt off, headache at 2 p.m. Vision blurred. Lasted 20 minutes. Dizziness at breakfast. Had to sit down. Room spinning. Numbness in left hand during math class. Couldn't hold my pencil. I thought if I documented everything, maybe someone would take me seriously. Maybe I could prove it was real. But I didn't show anyone. Because I was terrified they'd just say it was more anxiety, more stress, more me being dramatic. Things came to a head in December. I had another episode, this time at home. I was helping my mom make dinner, and suddenly everything started tilting. I grabbed the counter, dropped the knife I was holding. "I need to sit down," I said. My mom guided me to a chair, her face tight with worry. "Should we go to the ER?" she asked. "No," I said quickly. "It'll pass. It always passes." My brother walked into the kitchen, basketball in hand. He took one look at me and sighed, audibly sighed. "Again?" he said. My mom shot him a look. "Not now." "When, then?" He set the basketball on the counter and crossed his arms. "Because this is getting ridiculous. She has these episodes every other day. The doctors can't find anything wrong, and we're all supposed to just... What? Pretend like this is normal?" "I'm not pretending," I said, my voice shaking. "This is happening to me." "Or you're having panic attacks and won't admit it." "I know what a panic attack feels like," I shouted. "This isn't that." "Then what is it?" he shouted back. "Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you're scared of something and you're making yourself sick over it." My mom stepped between us. "Both of you, stop." But I couldn't stop. Not anymore. "Why are you doing this?" I asked my brother, tears streaming down my face. "Why don't you believe me?" He looked at me for a long moment, and I swear I saw something flicker across his face. Something like guilt. But then it was gone. "I do believe you think something's wrong," he said quietly. "I just don't think it's what you think it is." And he walked out. That night, I did what I'd been avoiding. I went online and started researching my symptoms. Headaches, dizziness, vision problems, numbness. The results were overwhelming. Hundreds of possibilities, most of them terrifying. Brain tumor, multiple sclerosis, seizure disorder, stroke. But one thing kept coming up. One possibility that made my blood run cold: carbon monoxide poisoning. I clicked on the article, read through the symptoms. Headaches? Check. Dizziness? Check. Vision problems? Check. Confusion? Difficulty concentrating? Check. Symptoms that come and go. Symptoms that get worse in certain locations. I sat back, my heart racing. Our house had a gas furnace, gas water heater, gas stove. What if? No, that was crazy, wasn't it? The next day, I did something I probably shouldn't have. I ordered a carbon monoxide detector online, paid for overnight shipping with my babysitting money. I didn't tell anyone. Because if I was wrong, if I was just being paranoid, it would be more proof that I was unstable. The detector arrived 2 days later. I opened it in my room, read the instructions 3 times. Then I waited until everyone was asleep. At 2 a.m., I crept downstairs with the detector. I checked the kitchen first. The living room, the basement, all normal readings. I was about to give up, feeling foolish, when I passed by my brother's room, and something made me stop. His room was in the corner of the second floor, above the garage. I held the detector up to his door. Nothing. But then I opened the door, stepped inside, and the detector started beeping. Not loud, but steady. I looked at the reading. 35 parts per million. I didn't know what that meant, so I checked my phone. Anything above 9 parts per million requires investigation. Above 35 parts per million causes symptoms with prolonged exposure. My hands started shaking. I checked my own room next. 50 parts per million. My room was directly above his. We shared a wall with the garage. I checked my parents' room on the other side of the house. 7 parts per million. Normal. I stood in the hallway, the pieces clicking together. My brother slept in that room, but he was barely home. Basketball practice, friends' houses, his girlfriend's place. But I was home all the time, in my room, studying, sleeping. I was being poisoned. Slowly, and no one believed me. I wanted to wake everyone up right then. Show them the detector, prove I wasn't making it up. But something stopped me. I thought about my brother's reaction, his skepticism, his comments, and I realized something. He already knew, or at least he suspected, because his room was affected too. He would have had symptoms, unless he'd figured it out and said nothing, unless he'd let me keep suffering because it was easier than admitting there was a real problem. Unless he'd convinced everyone I was being dramatic because he didn't want to deal with fixing the house, moving rooms, or facing the fact that he'd ignored it. I don't know which possibility was worse. That he didn't know and didn't believe me, or that he did know and let it continue. The next morning, I made a decision. I couldn't go to my parents. Not yet. Because they'd talk to my brother. They'd ask him questions. And somehow, he'd find a way to explain it away. He was good at that. So I went to the school counselor. Her name was Mrs. Patterson, and she'd always been kind to me. Patient. I walked into her office before first period, the carbon monoxide detector in my backpack, along with printed articles about the symptoms and my journal documenting everything. "I need to talk to you," I said. "It's important." She gestured to the chair across from her desk. "Of course. What's going on?" And I told her everything. The symptoms, the hospital visits, the doctors finding nothing, the detector, the readings. I showed her my journal, the articles, the proof. She listened carefully, her expression growing more serious. "Have you told your parents?" she asked. "Not yet. I need someone to believe me first, because if I go to them and they don't believe me, I don't know what I'll do." She nodded slowly. "I believe you, and this is serious. Carbon monoxide poisoning can be fatal. We need to contact your parents immediately and—" That's when my brother walked in. I don't know how he knew I was there. Maybe he saw me walk into the office. Maybe someone told him. But he pushed open the door, all concerned big brother energy. "Hey, Mrs. Patterson, sorry to interrupt. I saw my sister come in and wanted to make sure everything was okay." Mrs. Patterson looked between us. "We're actually in the middle of something important. Perhaps you could— It's about the house, right?" He looked at me, his expression sympathetic. "About the carbon monoxide thing?" My stomach dropped. "You knew?" I whispered. "I suspected. After you were acting weird the other night, sneaking around with that detector." He turned to Mrs. Patterson, his voice gentle, reasonable. "Look, I know my sister thinks there's a carbon monoxide problem, but the thing is, we've had the house checked, multiple times. Dad had the furnace serviced last month. Everything's fine." "That's not true," I said. "You're lying." "I'm not lying. I'm trying to help you." He pulled out his phone, showed Mrs. Patterson something. "This is the receipt from the HVAC company. They did a full inspection. No issues." I felt the room tilting. Not from carbon monoxide this time, from betrayal. "But I tested it," I said. "I have the readings. In my room? In your room? With a detector you bought online? He said it kindly, like he was trying not to embarrass me. Those things aren't always accurate, and honestly, I think you were looking for an answer. Any answer. Because the alternative, that this might be psychological, is scarier. Mrs. Patterson looked at me, confusion in her eyes. Is that true? Your father had the house inspected? I don't know, I admitted. Maybe, but she's been under a lot of stress, my brother continued. The doctors think it might be anxiety, maybe panic disorder. And I get it. It's hard to accept. But making up stories about carbon monoxide, convincing yourself there's some external cause. I'm not making it up, I shouted. But I could see it in Mrs. Patterson's eyes, the doubt creeping back in. Because my brother was so calm, so reasonable, so concerned, and I was frantic, desperate. Exactly how someone with anxiety would act. Mrs. Patterson called my parents. They came to the school, had a long conversation with her and my brother in the principal's office. I sat outside, alone, while they decided my reality for me. When the door finally opened, my mom's face was tight. We're going home, she said quietly. In the car, no one spoke, until my dad finally said, We had the house inspected, you know that. When? I asked. Last month, before all this started. Can I see the report? Why, don't you trust us? I didn't answer, because the truth was, I didn't know anymore. After that, everything got worse. Word got around school that I'd made some kind of accusation. People didn't know the details, but they knew enough. The whispers got louder. She's losing it. Did you hear she accused her own family? Her brother had to come get her from the counselor's office. Even Jessica started pulling away. I want to support you, she said one day. But I don't know what's real anymore, and it's a lot. I spent December alone, going through the motions, pretending everything was fine. The symptoms continued, but I stopped talking about them, stopped writing them down, stopped caring. Because what was the point? No one believed me, not even myself anymore. Christmas break came. My brother went to stay at his girlfriend's family cabin for a week, some fancy ski trip. And for the first time in months, I felt better. Not perfect, but clearer. The headaches lessened. The dizziness faded. I could think straight again. And that's when I knew. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't making it up. Something in that house was wrong. While my parents were at work one day, I went into the garage. Really looked at it for the first time. The furnace was there, the water heater, both gas, and then I saw it. The exhaust vent for the furnace, the one that was supposed to vent carbon monoxide outside. It was disconnected. Not broken, not damaged. Disconnected, like someone had done work and never properly reattached it. All the exhaust was venting into the garage, and from there, seeping up through the floor into my room and my brother's room. I took pictures, lots of pictures, and then I called the fire department. They came within an hour, 2 firefighters with official carbon monoxide detectors. They checked the garage first. The readings were dangerous. Then they checked my room, my brother's room. How long has this been like this? One of them asked, his face grim. I don't know. Months, maybe? You're lucky to be alive. These levels with prolonged exposure. This is serious. They red-tagged the furnace. Said we couldn't use it until it was fixed properly. They made me go to the hospital to get checked out again. And this time, when they ran the tests, they knew what to look for. Elevated carboxyhemoglobin levels, consistent with chronic low-level carbon monoxide exposure. Finally, I had proof. My parents were horrified. My mom cried. My dad kept saying, I don't understand. We had it inspected. I asked to see the inspection report. It took him a while to find it. When he did, I read through it carefully. They'd inspected the furnace, checked for leaks in the house, and tested the carbon monoxide detectors. But they hadn't checked the exhaust vent connection in the garage. Because why would they? It wasn't part of the standard inspection. When did we have work done on the furnace? I asked. My dad thought back. Last February, they replaced some parts. Almost a full year ago. Right around when my symptoms had started. Someone had done the work and hadn't reconnected the vent properly. For almost a year, I'd been breathing in carbon monoxide. For almost a year, everyone had thought I was making it up. And my brother came home from his ski trip to find me in the hospital and the house in chaos. He walked into my hospital room, and for the first time since this all started, he couldn't meet my eyes. I didn't know, he said. Yes, you did. I suspected something might be wrong with the house, but I didn't. You let everyone think I was crazy. You told the school I was lying. You convinced Mom and Dad it was all in my head. I thought it was. I thought you were having panic attacks and fixating on... You had symptoms too. You must have. Unless you were never home, never in your room. He didn't answer, and that was answer enough. Get out, I said. I'm sorry. Get out. He left, and I never wanted to see him again. January came. I went back to school after the break. Word had gotten around about what happened. The carbon monoxide, the hospitalization, the fact that I'd been right all along. People didn't know what to say to me. Some tried to apologize. I'm so sorry. I should have believed you. Are you feeling better? That must have been so scary. I accepted their apologies, but I didn't forget. I didn't forget who had stood by me and who had whispered behind my back. The counselor, Mrs. Patterson, called me into her office. I owe you an apology, she said. I should have taken you more seriously. I should have pushed for more investigation. Yes, I said. You should have. She looked uncomfortable. Your brother, he was very convincing, and the documentation he showed me. What documentation? She pulled out a file. The inspection report. He showed me on his phone. I looked at the date on the report she'd called up on her computer. Last month, just like he'd said. But then I noticed something. The company name. The address. I pulled out my phone. Who looked up the HVAC company? It didn't exist. The address was a residential home. The phone number was disconnected. My brother had shown her a fake report. He'd created a fake document to prove I was lying. I showed Mrs. Patterson what I'd found. Her face went white. I need to take this to the principal, she said. I know. We walked to the principal's office together. A formal meeting was called. My parents were called. My brother was called. We all sat in that office, the same office where everyone had doubted me months before. Principal Williams was an older man, fair, but stern. He looked at me. I understand you have information about what happened last semester. I laid it all out. Everything, the symptoms, the dismissals, the visit to Mrs. Patterson, my brother's intervention. And then I showed him the fake report. He created a false document to discredit me, I said, to make everyone think I was making it up. My brother's face was red. I was trying to help. I thought if I could show her that the house was fine, she'd stop fixating. You faked an official report, Principal Williams said. That's fraud. And you used it to undermine your sister's credibility when she was trying to get help for a legitimate medical emergency. I didn't know it was legitimate. I thought... It doesn't matter what you thought. You lied. To school officials, to your parents, to everyone. My mom was crying. My dad looked like he wanted to disappear. Principal Williams opened his desk drawer and pulled out a file. My file. The one with all my medical records, the hospital visits, the documentation. The one they should have looked at more carefully the first time. "I've been reviewing this," he said. "And I'm ashamed to say we failed you multiple times. We should have investigated more thoroughly. We should have protected you." He looked at my brother. "You're suspended, pending a full investigation. And if your sister chooses to pursue charges for fraud or emotional distress, that's her right." My brother stared at him. "But basketball season is over for you." The room went silent. Finally, someone was taking this seriously. Finally, someone was holding him accountable. After the meeting, my parents asked to speak with me privately. We sat in an empty classroom. "We're so sorry," my mom said. "We should have believed you. We should have fought harder for answers." "Yes," I said. "You should have." My dad cleared his throat. "Your brother, I think he convinced himself it wasn't real because he didn't want it to be. He felt guilty." "Why would he feel guilty?" My dad hesitated. "Because he requested that room. When we first moved into the house, you both wanted the bigger corner room. We let him choose because he was older. If he'd picked differently..." I sat back, the weight of it settling over me. He'd known. On some level, he'd known his room was the source. And instead of admitting it, instead of facing it, he'd made me the problem. "What happens now?" I asked. "We fix the house," my mom said. "Properly, with a real inspection and certified contractors. And you move to a different room, somewhere safe." "And him?" They looked at each other. "That's up to you," my dad said. It's been 3 months since that day in the principal's office. 3 months since everything came out. My brother was suspended for 2 weeks, lost his spot as team captain, had to do community service. More importantly, he lost his credibility. People looked at him differently now. Not as the golden boy, but as the guy who let his sister suffer to protect his own comfort. He tried to apologize. Multiple times. I didn't forgive him. Not yet, anyway. Maybe someday. But not now. Because some betrayals cut too deep to heal quickly. The house was fixed. Properly inspected. The exhaust vent was reconnected. The garage was sealed off better. And we installed carbon monoxide detectors on every floor. I moved to a different room, on the other side of the house. I sleep better now. My symptoms faded, slowly but surely. The headaches stopped. The dizziness disappeared. I could think clearly again. I started seeing a therapist. Not because I was making things up, but because going through something like that, being gaslit by your own family, being disbelieved by everyone, leaves scars. And I'm working through them. I wish I could tell you this story has a perfect ending. That my brother and I are close now. That everything went back to normal. But it didn't. Some things you can't go back from. What I can tell you is this. I learned that your reality matters, even when no one else believes it. I learned that sometimes the people closest to you will betray you to protect themselves. And I learned that you have to fight for yourself, even when it feels impossible. Especially when it feels impossible. Because no one else is going to do it for you. The school made changes after what happened to me. They updated their policies. Now, when a student reports ongoing medical issues, they're required to do more thorough follow-up. They can't just take a family member's word for it. They have to investigate. Mrs. Patterson apologized again. Formally, in writing. She said she learned from this. that she'd never make the same mistake again. I appreciate that, but I also know that it took me almost dying for the system to change. And I think about other kids who might be going through something similar, kids who are being told they're making it up, that it's all in their head, that they need to calm down, stop being dramatic, stop seeking attention. If you're one of those kids, I want you to hear me. Trust yourself. Document everything. Find someone who will listen. And don't give up, because you deserve to be believed. You deserve to be safe. And you deserve better than what I went through. Today, I'm doing better. My grades are back up. My friends are back. I even joined a club, the Environmental Science Club, because I learned way too much about home safety, and I figured I might as well use it. I see my brother at school sometimes. We don't talk much. He's quieter now, less confident, more careful about what he says. I think he finally understands what he did. I think he knows there's no taking it back. My parents are trying. They really are. They check in with me constantly, maybe too much. But I understand why. They're trying to make up for not believing me when it mattered, and I'm trying to forgive them, trying to rebuild that trust. It's slow, but it's happening. Remember that file? The one the principal opened? I asked to see it a few weeks ago. He made copies for me. Pages and pages of documentation, medical records, hospital visits, teacher's notes, counselor reports. All of it pointing to the same thing. Something was wrong, and everyone missed it. Everyone except me. I keep those copies in my desk drawer now. Not because I want to remember the pain, but because I want to remember the lesson. Evidence matters. Truth matters. And sometimes you have to be your own advocate, even when the whole world is telling you you're wrong. So that's my story. The story of how my brother told the school I was lying, until the principal opened the file. The story of how I almost died, because no one would listen. The story of how I learned to trust myself, even when no one else would. If you made it this far, thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for believing. And if you're going through something similar, if you feel like no one is hearing you, if you feel like you're screaming into the void, please don't give up. Keep fighting, keep documenting, keep pushing, because your story matters, your truth matters, and you never know who might need to hear it. Before you go, I want to ask you something. If this story resonated with you, if it made you think about times when you weren't believed, or times when you didn't believe someone else, leave a comment. Tell me your story, because we all have them. These moments when we were dismissed, gaslit, or told we were overreacting. And maybe by sharing them, we can help someone else feel less alone. Hit the like button if you think more people need to hear stories like this. Subscribe if you want to hear more real stories about things that actually matter. And share this with someone who needs to hear it. Someone who's fighting to be believed. Someone who needs to know they're not crazy. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And remember, your reality is valid. Even when no one else sees it. Especially when no one else sees it. I'm still healing. Still learning to trust again. Still figuring out who I am after everything that happened. But I'm here. I survived. And if I can help even one person avoid what I went through, then maybe it was all worth it. Take care of yourselves. Listen to your bodies. Trust your instincts. And never, ever let anyone tell you your pain isn't real. Because it is.